Welcome to the deep dive. So, if you've been keeping an eye on the self-hosting world lately, you've probably heard the noise. There's been a bit of a storm brewing, a controversy really shaking things up.
Yeah, totally.
And it all centers around a name many of us know and, well, used to trust. Minio. So the question that really kicked off this deep dive for us was, what actually happened with Minio? Why is this one update causing such a huge fuss?
That's the core of it, yeah. Minio, for a long time, it was, almost the name for S3 compatible object storage, a real go-to. People loved its performance, its open source background, and maybe most importantly, that super intuitive web UI.
Right, that web interface was key.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
let so many people, hobbyists, small teams manage their storage really easily without needing to dive into command lines. But then this recent update felt like it came out of nowhere, just stripped key admin features right out of the free community version's web UI.
Mhm.
Just gone.
Pulled the rug out, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so today, our mission is to really unpack this. We're going to look at exactly what changed, dig into the community's pretty strong reaction, and then, crucially, explore what S3-compatible storage solutions are popping up as real alternatives now.
And we're drawing this from, online forum discussions, community chatter, plus some industry reports to get the full picture.
Right, getting into the nitty-gritty, you mentioned that feeling of the rug being pulled out. Let's focus on that change itself. What exactly happened around, what was it, April 2025?
It was super abrupt. So around mid to late April 2025, Minio pushed an update, and boom, vital admin functions vanished from the web UI in the free version. We're talking managing buckets, creating access keys, tweaking storage settings, the core stuff.
Wow.
And the suddenness really hit people. We saw posts online like this one college student setting up a new project, just saying the functions were gone when trying to set up a new access key. Just like that. You go to do something routine, and the button's just not there anymore.
Yeah, that's jarring. Especially since, as you said, that UI was such a big draw. Why was it such a standout feature? What made losing it so disruptive?
Well, it wasn't just a nice to have. For a lot of users, that UI was the reason they picked Minio in the first place.
Yeah.
It really opened up object storage management to folks who weren't command line wizards, Made complex stuff feel simple.
Democratized it almost.
Exactly. So when those tools disappeared from the UI, it genuinely felt like a rug pulled out from under them. And the online forums, they just lit up. Accusations of a bait and switch were flying around everywhere. That really points to a breakdown in trust.
And looking at why they might have done this, I mean, the perceived motivation seems pretty clear, doesn't it? It looks like a push towards their paid enterprise plans.
Seems that way.
Because those plans, of course, still have the full web UI experience. And we're not talking pocket change here. Reports are saying commercial licenses can run up to $96,000 annually for 1 TB of storage. That's a world away from a free tool.
Oh, absolutely. And that's fueled this deep feeling of betrayal, particularly among the longtime self-hosters, the open source advocates. They feel Minio is basically alienating their non-commercial users.
Prioritizing the money over the community that helped build it.
Right, putting monetization ahead of that open source spirit.
Right.
We saw one comment online that really summed it up, saying the platform now feels AGPL v3 on paper only.
Ouch. Can you quickly unpack AGPL-v3 for listeners who might not know?
Sure. The AGPL v3, the Afro General Public License, it's a pretty strong open source license. The core idea is ensuring users have the freedom to run, study, share, and modify the software, even commercially. The Afro part adds a requirement that if you run a modified version over a network, you generally have to offer the source code to users.
So the criticism is that Minio isn't living up to that spirit anymore.
That's the feeling in parts of the community, yeah. That this move goes against the grain of keeping the software truly open and accessible, creating this tension between, needing revenue as a company and meeting the community's expectations.
Okay, so for the users, the self-hosters, the small teams who are unwilling or, frankly, unable to shell out potentially tens of thousands of dollars, what are they doing right now? What are the immediate workarounds people are grabbing onto?
Two main things popped up almost immediately in the forums. First, just rolling back, people started hunting down older Docker images, specifically ones from before the change.
Before the UI got gutted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Versions like minio.release.2025.04.22t22.12.26z, or you use the Bitnami images, something like 2025.4.22, basically anything dated before late April 2025.
Makes sense.
And the smarter folks are caching these locally. using tools like Nexus or Harbor, running Docker save commands to create local tarballs, like minio2250522.tar, just to make sure they have that working version safe in case older ones get pulled from Docker Hub.
Insurance, basically. Smart. What's the second workaround?
Pivoting to the command line. Using the Minio client, the MC tool, it still works. You can still manage everything.
Mm.
But for many people, especially those drawn to Minio because of its easy UI, this feels like a real step backward.
Yeah.
It's just not the same experience.
Right. It takes away that ease of use factor that was so appealing. And I imagine that frustration, that feeling of taking a step back has probably fueled the search for actual replacements. People aren't just looking for temporary fixes anymore.
Definitely. The hunt for viable long-term alternatives kicked off almost instantly. People want S3 compatibility, obviously, scalability, but now a user-friendly management interface that they can rely on is suddenly way higher on the priority list.
Understandably so. Okay, let's dive into those alternatives then. What open source options are really getting talked about right now?
One that keeps coming up, particularly for people wanting something maybe a bit lighter, is Garage.
Garage. Okay.
Yeah, it's described as a lightweight, open source, S3 compatible object storage solution. It's specifically designed with geo-distributed setups in mind, which is interesting. It seems to be gaining traction as a kind of natural choice because it's simpler and focuses on decentralized storage that really appeals to the self-hosting ethos.
Lightweight, decentralized. Sounds interesting. But the big question, given the Minio situation, what about the UI? Does Garage have one?
Good question.
Mm.
Officially, no. Garage itself doesn't ship with a built-in web interface. That's a key difference. But there's a third-party web UI that's emerged. It's on GitHub, github.com/carerule169 Garage Web UI.
Okay, so the community is stepping up.
Exactly. People are saying it's pretty simple to set up. There might be a slight delay sometimes, apparently, as it talks to the Garage API. But reports are it's function for basic stuff. We saw one user comment, I've paired Garage with Garage Web UI, and I'm very satisfied with it. So it seems viable.
But there are caveats, right?
For sure. No official UI is one. And the development team behind Garage is reportedly very small, maybe just one full-timer. So it's probably best suited for people who are already comfortable using command line tools like Osculi, or who are happy integrating that third-party UI and understand the potential limitations.
Okay, so Garage is the lightweight, maybe slightly more DIY option. What if you need something more robust, something heavier duty, maybe for larger setups?
Then this conversation often turns to Ceph, specifically Ceph's Object Gateway, which is usually called RGW.
Ceph, right. That's a well-known name in storage.
It is.
Yeah.
Ceph is definitely enterprise grade. It's a very well-established open source storage platform known for huge scalability and flexibility. And here's the thing. If you already have a Ceph cluster running, which isn't uncommon for larger home labs or small businesses, then adding the object gateway for S3 compatibility is relatively straightforward. Someone mentioned it's a fairly easy migration in that scenario.
So if you're already in the Ceph ecosystem, it's a natural move. It gives you that S3 compatibility, similar to Minio.
Yeah, it provides an S3 compatible API through something called Rados Gateway. That's the component within Ceph that handles the S3 and Swift protocols. It lets your Ceph cluster talk S3. It's powerful, very robust.
I sense a but coming.
Yeah. Well, two things. First, while it's S3 compatible, it's sometimes not always 1.1 with public S3 behavior. So applications tightly coupled to exactly how Minio did S3 might need some adjustments. Second, Ceph itself is complex. It's a heavyweight.
Requires more resources, more know-how.
Definitely. It needs significant hardware and expertise to run properly. So it's generally less accessible for smaller setups or for individuals just starting out. As one person put it quite well, I don't think Ceph really fills the same use case for most people that Minio originally did.
Different tools for different jobs, essentially.
Exactly. But for larger environments needing serious scale and reliability, Ceph is a fantastic option. And importantly, its community licensing model avoids those AGPL v3 controversies we talked about with Minio. For the right user, it can offer far greater enterprise value at the same or lower total cost.
Okay, so Garage for lightweight, Ceph for heavyweight. Did any other open source contenders get mentioned? Maybe more niche ones?
A couple, yeah. Seaweed FS got a shout out. It's another open source option, S3 compatible, apparently known for high performance and flexibility. But similar to Garage, it seems it lacks a polished web interface. So again, probably better for those comfortable with CLIs or building their own integrations.
All right.
And then there was OpenMaxial. This one is interesting. It's actually a fork of Minio's older UI. Someone basically took the old code before the features were removed.
Oh, so like freezing Minio in time.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But there's a big warning label attached. Forking code is one thing, maintaining it is another, as someone pointed out. It's basically just running old Minio. Without active development, it's probably going to fall behind quickly. Security issues, compatibility problems. It's a risky long-term bet.
Yeah, sounds like a temporary fix at best, maybe not even that. Okay, that gives us a great lay of the land for open source. But what about businesses or maybe users with bigger budgets looking for something supported? Are there commercial S3 alternatives stepping into the void?
Yes, definitely. And one name that's being discussed as a compelling commercial alternative is Cloudian, their hyperstore platform.
Cloudian. Okay, what's their angle?
They're positioning themselves strongly for enterprise needs. Their big selling points seem to be a rich, web-based management environment, directly addressing that Minio pain point, along with superior S3 compatibility and massive scalability, like up to exabytes. And often they claim at a lower cost than traditional storage solutions.
So they're hitting that UI need head on, plus compatibility and scale. Sounds like a direct competitor, especially for businesses feeling burned by Minio. Is it pitched as an easy switch?
They seem to be aiming for a seamless migration path. Cloudian also talks up some advanced features, like supporting AWS S3 Express One Zone, which they say enables 10x faster data access and 50% cost reductions for specific workloads.
Faster and cheaper. Interesting.
Yeah, and they're certified for AWS Outposts Gen 2, which boosts their hybrid cloud story. So their message is pretty clear. You can have advanced enterprise features, good S3 compatibility, and a solid UI without breaking the bank compared to older storage models. It's clearly targeted at businesses needing that robust management and support.
Makes sense. Obviously, being commercial, it's likely not the right fit for hobbyists who were happy with free Minio, but for organizations.
Exactly. It provides a potential off-ramp for businesses impacted by the Minio changes who need something solid and supported.
You know, this whole Minio situation, it feels like it highlights something bigger, doesn't it? About the dynamics in open source.
Absolutely.
It's not just about this one company or this one product. It really throws that tension into sharp relief, the tightrope walk between keeping a community happy with free open software and, well, the need to actually fund development and keep the lights on.
You've nailed it. It's that constant broader tension in the open source world, balancing community goodwill with commercial sustainability. MINIO'S likely argument is, hey, these paid plans fund development for everyone. But the community pushback, as we've heard, frames it as a betrayal of its AGPL v3 roots.
Right, leading to those pretty blunt comments like, what was it? Pony up $96,000, suckers.
Yeah, or the slightly less aggressive but equally pointed, Minio gives the finger to its users. Pay up or miss out on the features. It's hyperbolic, sure, but it captures that raw feeling from users who felt invested in a free, functional tool and now feel like they're being forced to pay or leave.
It really does underline why people get excited about self-hosting and open source, finding these powerful tools that don't lock you in. But this deep dive makes it crystal clear. There isn't really a perfect Minio clone just waiting, is there?
Not really, no.
Each alternative we discussed, Garage, Ceph, even the commercial ones like Cloudian, they all have different strengths, weaknesses, and target users. It really hammers home that, for you listening, you've got to match your needs, scale, budget, and technical comfort to the right tool.
Precisely. The landscape has shifted.
So this Minio update, yeah, it's caused a lot of controversy, a lot of upset, but it's also kind of fascinating to watch how it's acting as a catalyst, right? It's pushing people to explore, to innovate, maybe find solutions that are even better suited for them in the long run. It shows the resilience of the community.
Absolutely. It's forcing a reevaluation, which can be healthy. So to recap the practical takeaways, if you need a quick temporary fix, rolling back to that Minio release, 2025-0422 version is your best bet for now.
Got it. Short-term fix.
For lightweight setups, if you're okay with CLI or a third-party UI, Garage looks really promising. If you need serious enterprise scale and maybe already use Ceph, then Ceph RGW is a very solid path.
It's a heavyweight option.
Right. And if you need that polished, supported, commercial-grade experience, especially coming from Minio's UI, then Cloudian is definitely worth investigating. These aren't just replacements, they unlock new possibilities.
Different paths forward. Which leaves me thinking, given this constant push and pull between the open source community spirit and the need for commercial viability, how do you think we'll see similar situations play out with other big free software projects down the line? Is this a sign of things to come?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Will it push more projects towards gating features or maybe strengthen the resolve to build truly community-driven alternatives? Definitely a thing to chew on.